For me, I'm so passionate about, the lifestyle, of ranching. It is a very healthy and spiritual existence, for me. You're out in the open range, you're working with animals, sometimes you're riding an animal. And for me, I'm very passionate about the lifestyle. I think that more people should actually spend time, out farming or ranching. I think, society has got caught up in the concrete jungle, and technology. But for me, it's been a great lifestyle. I wouldn't trade it. If I had to do it over, I'd do it again.
Very interesting. I've spent my whole life being around animals, every type of animal that we have here on the islands. I think first and foremost, you have to love what you do, and it grows with you. And no matter what type of animal it is, we have to realize that the animals will sense every bit of it. I mean, when we're calm, they're calm. If we get all feisty and, try to get out of place because we're not feeling, our moods changes, the animals are gonna change. And a lot of people don't realize that. But if you do it long enough and pay attention and look at and observe and watch the animals, as you're working with them, we as human beings, and myself, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot just being around them and working with them. And I love it.
Well, Paniolo and rancher is pretty much the same thing, just like if you're like a local cowboy or rancher, that's what Paniolo is cowboy in Hawaiian. So we are cowboys and ranchers. We do everything that cowboys and ranchers do, so I consider myself a cowboy.
The difference between bison and buffalo. Bison it's actually a species of the bovine family that you find in America, and I think the term buffalo is just assigned to them just because of the similarities of buffalo in Asia and in Africa. But and it's just stuck with them. Most people will call bison buffalo, but it is bison. This herd was established back in the late 1960s, 1969. A gentleman, Bill Morey, decided to bring bison to Hawaii. And he originally got 6 cows and 4 bulls out of Colorado. Later in the 70s, he actually added more bison from South Dakota. But all of the bison are bison, which is the American bison. So they are a purebred herd. And they've, at its peak, I think it was 300 head that they had at one time. Well, it's been a learning process for us, being that we've worked cattle most of our career. So we've learned that with the bison, it takes a little bit longer. Cattle, you can drive them directly to an area where you want them to go, whereas bison, you pretty much drive them where they want to go.
Herding the bison into the corral, what we found, especially this particular herd that we're working with, because they're like so fresh, they're not used to being around humans a lot and whatever, that when you get them in the direction that they want to go, that you just kind of have to keep with it. You don't want to like over push them where they stress out and then they just start to break off, but you don't want to leave too much distance between you and them also, because then that way they just kind of, they'll just die out. You just want to keep that momentum going. When they're going, you just want to keep that momentum and just kind of follow them into the corral. And we had success with that on our last drive that we did.
So that's probably the biggest difference. You have to respect their comfort zones a little bit more, and just know that they're not as tame and domesticated as cattle. So it can take, twice the amount of time, or it could also, because of their wild nature, it could move pretty quick, and sometimes you accomplish things a little bit quicker, but they dictate how and when things are going to happen.
We use the ATVs and stuff over the horses. It's just in the terrain that we're in, it's a lot of swampy ground and stuff like that. It's harder for the horses, and just safety reasons and whatever. It's easier for us to just kind of get across those mucky areas with those ATVs and stuff, and in case we needed to get out of the way, it's much quicker than a horse. Horses they're just like humans, I mean, they're not perfect. They stumble, they fall, and whatever, and something was to happen in that sense, somebody could get hurt or whatever. So yeah, it's easier to use those ATVs to kind of get them in the direction that you're going, much quicker to get in and out of the way if necessary.
So the first time that we tried to round up the bison, which was totally new to all of us, we weren't very successful. They ended up breaking into two groups. We lost control of one. We were very respectful of their flight zones, their comfort zones. We didn't try very hard because we didn't want to train them or have them associate us, cowboys, as something bad happening. So we tried to keep in mind that we were going to try and train them at the same time and learn from them at the same time. So it's been a learning process. And every time we've become more and more successful in accomplishing what we planned for that day. So it is a learning curve, and we're excited about it, but it's definitely things that we got to figure out.
Typical roundup for buffalo or bison, should you say. We'd start off by setting up our gates to our corral, setting up our wing fence gate. We'd get our guys together, organized, and we'd go out, start at the back end of the pasture.
There's people who actually go in and drive them out, and people who stay and block certain areas so that they don't branch off. Try to just keep the herd together and drive them all the way into the corral.
And we'd slowly push them towards that lane, should you say, leading into the corral. It's a very slow process. You can't really push them very hard. They tend to clam up around tight quarters, so as you get closer to the corral, the lane gets smaller and smaller, so you need to go real slow once you get close. But once we get them to the corral, and if they all go in easily, we just go up there, close the gate. That's pretty much our roundup. Well, it depends on the rancher, obviously, but they'd probably fly spray them, doctor certain ones that are sick, or that need that medical attention. Other than that, I'd say that's about it in the corral.
I feel that I'm blessed for Stuart being a part of that whole bison deal down there. I was part of that, and I'm happy to see what we have done in this short period of time. To me, it's like it's my turn to give back and help in whichever way with my experience, in whichever way we can to have it be successful.